Remain behind the chains and rails! Remain behind the chains and rails!
It is requested that all visitors remain behind the chains and rails!
Never mess with a guard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier has been guarded every second since midnight of July 2nd, 1937. The guards are some of the world's most elite and feared soldiers, but for decades they've been shrouded in secrecy. From their training, special rules, secret codes, and what they do if someone disrespects the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is located in Arlington National Cemetery, a military cemetery in Virginia, USA. Guarding of the tomb began in 1926, but bad weather and natural disasters sometimes interrupted this. However, in 1937, round-the-clock, uninterrupted guarding would begin. Since then, the tomb has been guarded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Since then, the patrol has never stopped even once, even during hurricanes, blizzards, and lightning storms, as well as global conflicts, for example, World War II. Even on September 11th, the guards remained at their post, despite the Pentagon, which is not far from Arlington, being hit. In 2003, Hurricane Isabel caused massive damage to Washington, D.C., specifically power outages, flooding, and downed trees. Offices and schools were closed, but the guards stayed at their post. In 1944, there was a 5.9 Richter scale earthquake, but despite all the shaking and danger, the guards did not leave. But what exactly are these guards risking their lives to guard? During war, it's not always possible to collect all of the fallen bodies, meaning that unfortunately some men are left behind. It can be weeks, months, or even years before the bodies are recovered, and in some cases they're not found at all. Also, in the past, DNA profiling did not exist. This meant many soldiers were buried in graves simply marked unknown. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier was built to honor all of the unidentified American service members who gave their lives in war, symbolizing their sacrifice to the nation, which is why it's guarded non-stop as a mark of respect. The tomb's guards are all armed, but can they actually shoot? The guards were first armed with Springfield M1903 bolt-action rifles that were famously used in World War I. These were later replaced by the M1 Garand and then the M14 rifle, which is what the guards still use today. A stock is attached to the gun. However, most guards do not have the 20-round magazine attached. So are these rifles just for show? Well, it's rumored each rifle has one round in the chamber, just in case they need to use it. Their M14s also have a bayonet on the front, which they could use for self-defense. However, they likely wouldn't need to, as the tomb's sergeant has a fully loaded pistol ready to use, a specially made Sig Sauer M17. They're authorized to shoot anyone who desecrates or disturbs the tomb. Trespassing or vandalizing the tomb is very hard, as you would somehow have to get through these multiple layers of security. Unfortunately though, people have tried. Visitors have tried to touch the tomb.
It is requested that all visitors remain behind the chains and rails at all times!
Step onto the plaza,
Sir, it is requested you remain off the plaza at all times!
or even provoke the guards.
It is requested that all visitors maintain an atmosphere of silence and respect at all times.
These attempts are all quickly stopped, with the people being removed and arrested. These incidents happen fairly often, meaning the guards have to be alert at all times. But how much do the tomb's guards earn? The guards are elite soldiers, meaning they're paid the same as any other service member of the same rank. They're also entitled to compensation for expenses while on the job. The thing is, the guards never display any rank insignia. This is done so as not to outrank the buried unknown soldier, whatever their rank may have been. But a tomb guard's average salary is about $45,000 per year. With that being said, they don't do it for the money. It's considered a sacred honor in the military. Unfortunately, some people do not show the guard respect. So what happens when you mess with a guard? During certain ceremonies, visitors must not speak. They also must stay within the fenced-off viewing area. If anyone tries to trespass onto the tomb or makes too much noise, the guard will give a verbal warning and move his rifle into the ready position.
It is requested that all visitors maintain an atmosphere of silence and respect.
But sometimes that's not enough. If things escalate, the guards are authorized to use lethal force, taking swift action to maintain order and respect. It doesn't take much to set one of these guards off. If you laugh or talk too loudly, they will yell at you while pointing their rifle in your direction. And if you trespass to try and touch the tomb, they will forcibly remove you and hand you over to the military police, who will remove you from the cemetery and arrest you. Entitled Karens are no match for the tomb's guards.
Remain behind the chains and rails.
You may be wondering, where do the tomb's guards live? Well, they actually have a few options. Many live in the barracks at Fort Myers, which is right next to the cemetery. But what about the guards who have 24-hour shifts? Well, they can rest in a secret hidden quarters, buried under the steps of the tomb's amphitheater, allowing them to get some rest during their long shifts. When they're not resting, they use this space for studying and training. Being a tomb guard is much more than just marching around. Their days begin at 5 a.m. They will clean and inspect their uniforms and receive the day's duty assignments. At 6:30 a.m., the tomb guards inspect the trainees. These are the new guards hoping to make it. If the trainees meet the standards, the tomb guards may allow them to walk the first morning guard change, which is known as a bolo. The public is allowed to view the tomb between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. During this time, the guards will perform various ceremonies, such as walking the mat, changing of the guard, and various wreath-laying ceremonies. But what exactly makes the tomb guards so elite? Their job may seem repetitive and easy, but don't be fooled. These guys are a ceremonial special force, meaning that only the best of the best are let in. Only 20% of all volunteers are accepted for training, and of those, only around 5% pass training to become a tomb guard. For perspective, around 20 to 30% of Navy SEAL candidates pass training, meaning that the tomb guards are even more selective than the Navy SEALs. Tomb guards aren't just elite, but very secretive too. They even have a secret code. That is their special number, 21.
21?
During the walking of the mat, the guards take 21 steps. They then turn and face the tomb for 21 seconds. After turning their rifle, the guard will pause for 21 more seconds. They will then march 21 steps back, repeating this over and over until the guard change ceremony takes place. But why 21? Well, a 21 gun salute is the highest honor in military salutes, used to respect high-ranking military officials, presidents, and members of royal families. Also, the first unknown soldier was buried on November 11th, 1921, so the tomb guard's use of 21 is not random, but instead a sign of massive respect. An even more secretive aspect of tomb guards is their training. Despite not being in combat, they have elite soldier training. They must be highly motivated and disciplined. To become a tomb guard, they must submit an application to the sergeant of the old guard. If accepted, they will experience a 2-week training period, and it is intense. They have to complete 5 grueling tests over 6 to 12 months. These tests focus on uniform preparation, ceremonial performance, and knowledge of what it takes to be a tomb guard. To pass, you must be able to flawlessly conduct 7 different types of ceremonies, prepare your uniform to the highest standard, and recite 35 entire pages of information. If trainees make a mistake at any point, they fail. But if they're part of the tiny fraction of trainees who make it, they're given this: the Tomb Guard Badge, one of the rarest badges in the US military. Only around 700 Tomb Guard badges have been issued since the 1950s. That's about 10 per year. Once this honor is bestowed, the guards have to live under strict rules, including no drinking or swearing in public for the rest of their lives, even when off duty. Their badge of honor can be revoked at any time, which can happen if they ever dishonor the guard's code, even decades after receiving the badge. However, this rarely happens, as the guards commit for years, with some even memorizing the name of every soldier buried at Arlington. That's hundreds of thousands of names. Comment below if you think you could become a tomb guard. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you want to know what happens if you mess with a royal guard, then watch this video next.